Welcome back. Today we're going to be planting the rootstock that we showed earlier to see if our grafts had taken, and all those that are doing well, we're going to put back in the ground for them to grow another year. Unfortunately, his name is Augustine. We call him Gus Gus. And if you look beside him or behind me, you'll see raised beds, and I've got quite a few. And that's what we put our starts in. So I've got to build a pen, a fence around this raised bed in order to keep him out. And hopefully it'll work, because he's been known to get through some pretty tough fences. But you got to admit, he is cute. All right, something I want to share with you. We do a type of gardening called Hugelkultur, and I will show in another video in detail how we actually do Hugelkultur. But in a short narrative, we do it in a box. Some people do it right on the ground. It means, it's a German word meaning mound gardening, basically, or hill gardening. So what we do is we lay cardboard on the ground at the bottom of this before anything else goes in it. Then we put logs in there, about 6-8 inches in diameter in some cases, some a little smaller. But we lay logs in here. We try to find older logs, but not too rotted. We put those at the bottom, and then we put branches on top of that. After that, we put leaves that we've been letting leaf mold gather over the winter. And then on top of that, we put straw, put a layer of straw. Then we bring in topsoil, and we put a couple, probably about 8 inches of topsoil on top of all that. That topsoil in time is going to pressure down, especially as the leaves and the straw and the wood decomposes. It's going to, all those cavities are going to get filled in. So you're going to need to come back the following year and add more back to that, your raised bed or your mound. And then on top of the topsoil, we put in compost. I do about 4 inches of compost right across the top. And then if you have any amenities you want to put in there, worm casings, dried blood, what is that called? Blood? Oh, my mind's blank. Anyways, I'll remember. But you put that in here if you want any of those amenities. But then you can plant right in there. And the plants will grow just fine, even though you still have some things down further that are breaking down. They won't rob the nutrients from the plants that are up higher. But over the course of the year or two, those logs and those sticks and those leaves, everything's going to decompose. All the microbes are going to get in there and just enrich, and earthworms, and they're going to enrich that soil. And that soil is going to keep coming up to the surface. Especially the earthworms are going to be bringing it up higher as it decomposes. 2 years after I built one of these, I had to move it. So I had to dismantle it. And when I did that, I found that my 8-inch logs were down to 4 inches. I found that the 6-inch logs were at 2, and the 4 inches and smaller weren't existent anymore. So it works beautifully, and it prevents you from having to keep coming back and putting more nutrients in year after year after year. That'll take care of itself, and those microbes that are in there are going to be so beneficial for your garden. You'll grow some of the best gardens you've ever seen in Hugelkultur. So consider it. All right. Okay. I'm going to continue on with the fence. It's quite a windy day today. We're going to continue on with planting the rootstock that we had grafted to last year. I do need to get them in the ground now. We've got some rain coming tomorrow, which we're looking forward to. I'm going to have to hose them down today. And we're going to put chicken wire around this, hoping that'll keep the dog out. And when we get the sheep, keep them out as well. The other thing I'm going to show you is we've been using a couple of old sheep troughs as raised beds, and we did the Hugelkultur in those raised beds as well. So this year I started to dig the soil up. We're going to repurpose those now, and the soil is absolutely beautiful. There's no logs left in it. There's virtually no sticks left in it. So you'll see it. I'll show you just how beautiful that soil has become. But I'm going to put that on top of this and to just add that additional nutrients into this soil, although it probably doesn't need it. I'm going to do it anyways. Not going to let that go to waste. And then whatever I don't use here, we will pot up, do a mixture, a potting mix, and use that for the rest of the apple trees or for our persimmons or any of our other plants. So, all right, let's get started planting these. So what we're going to do is you dig a hole, and you're going to have to see the shovel and not my face for the moment. All right, that's good enough. So there are the roots. And let's see, here's a graft right there. And do I have another graft? That one didn't take. So I've just got the one graft on this one, which seems fine. So when I plant this, I can plant this from the bottom down here where the roots are, all the way up, and I would go about 4 to 6 inches below that graft, because this rootstock is going to grow roots out of all of this. And what you do not want to do is you do not want to cover the bud or the graft. If you do, this tree will die. So go at least 4 inches, if not 6, below your graft when you plant. That's not only your rootstock, but that's your trees as well. This will let you know this ground is very moist. It looks dry on top, but it is very moist down below. That's a good thing. All right, that's number one. Put my label back on so I do not forget what kind of tree this is. And there we go. Okay, now about a little over a foot away, I'm going to dig another hole. Originally they were really tight together in another raised bed. And now that they've grown a little bit, I'm going to give them a little breathing room. This one has a much healthier root. Well, I don't know the other one's unhealthy, but this has got a much better root system. And again, there's a graft right here where my thumb is. And there is another graft down here where my thumb is. And so that's it, 1 and 2. So we will plant it. This one's going to be a little closer. I'll plant that. That'll end up being, I'll bury it to just above the roots. So that's going to give it about 4 inches up for that graft to be above the soil. Again, it's got some decent roots. Here, rootstock's down here, graft is up here. That's my lowest graft, so that's going to give me, I'll still come just above those roots, and it'll give me a good 4 inches to that that graft. And you can see there's a second graft, which has got a nice healing, which is what it's called when they bond together like that. That's called a healing. And nice and thick. Hopefully that'll produce a good tree. Okay, now I'm just going to move along. This one has a top graft, that German graft. That one looks like it might have taken, so it's I'm going to give it to spring and see if any life pours out of it. If worse comes to worse, got a good root system, and I still have a graft here and a graft here, a bud graft. So I've got 3 grafts, 2 buds, and 1 German It's a German. I forget what it's called. All right, we've got the Enterprise planted up. Now we're going to move on to our Williams Pride. Did I mention that these are my two favorite apples in the whole world? So as you can see, we've planted up 60 trees in this bed. Now we're going to watch to see how these rootstocks with the grafted apple trees of our choice do. We'll keep an eye on them through spring, through the summer, to see what grows healthy and what doesn't. I hope you learned something from this. I hope you saw, first of all, not only the grafts, I hope you had a good introduction into the Hugelkultur. I'm going to show you that soil here in a moment. We've already begun the class, taping the class, so hope we'll bring that to you soon. Good luck with your apple trees. Don't be afraid to graft. So until next time, again, let me show you the Hugelkultur soil, and then that'll be it. Let me show you how beautiful this soil is. How beautiful and rich this is all turned out. Just beautiful. So, I'm not going to waste it. The other thing is, when I dig down to where the sticks were, in small logs, I'm not finding any of them. And that's part of the beauty of this. The microbes have and the earthworms have totally broken it down. I did find a dog's chew toy. That's it. We'll go more depth into the Hugelkultur. We've been putting together a video to teach you how when we build these raised beds. So we'll see you then. Until next time.